We've all been there. You sit down with the best of intentions, pen in hand, or maybe you open up a shiny new productivity app. You carefully write out your to-do list, tasks neatly stacked, one after another. For a moment, you feel in control, organized, motivated. But fast forward a few hours, or worse, a few days, and what happens? That same list that once felt like a tool of clarity now feels like a weapon of guilt. Tasks remain unchecked. Some items have been carried over for days. And instead of feeling accomplished, you feel behind. So why does this happen? Why do to-do lists, something that seems so simple, so often fail us? The first reason is overstuffing. Most people treat their to-do list like a wish list. Every single thing they might want to do ends up there. From send project update to organize closet to call Aunt Susan. The result? Your brain looks at the list and feels overwhelmed before you've even started. Instead of motivating you, the list paralyzes you. The second reason is lack of prioritization. On paper, every task looks the same. It doesn't tell you what's actually important. So your brain naturally drifts toward easy wins, the quick email, the low-stakes task, the thing you can cross off fast. And while those little check marks feel good in the moment, they distract you from the big, meaningful work that actually moves life forward. And finally, the third reason is time blindness. If you want a deeper dive into this, check out my other video on time blindness. Your list doesn't know how long things will take. You jot down 10 tasks, but in reality, you only had space for 3. By the end of the day, unfinished items stare back at you like broken promises. The truth is, a to-do list by itself is incomplete. It captures tasks, but it doesn't capture the psychology of how humans actually work. In part 2, we'll dig deeper into this psychology and uncover why some people manage to make lists work, while most of us quietly give up on them. So let's look deeper. Why do some people seem to thrive with their to-do list, while others abandon them halfway through the week? It comes down to psychology, not stationery. When you write a list, your brain gets a little dopamine hit. That's why it feels satisfying in the moment. You've planned. You've organized. You've taken control. But here's the catch. Your brain confuses planning with progress. Just because you wrote it down doesn't mean you move forward. The list tricks you into a false sense of productivity. Then there's the problem of decision fatigue. Every time you look at your list, you have to decide, what do I do first? That tiny decision may not feel heavy at 9 a.m., but by 2 p.m., after emails, meetings, and distractions, your mental energy is gone. The list becomes a source of stress, not guidance. And let's not forget perfectionism. For some of us, a list is a scoreboard. If everything isn't checked off, the day feels like a failure. That's not motivating, it's punishing. And over time, your brain starts associating lists with guilt, which means you avoid them altogether. Finally, to-do lists don't account for emotions. You may have "write report" sitting neatly on line 3, but if you're drained, anxious, or unmotivated, that task feels impossible. Humans don't just run on time. We run on energy and emotion. A flat list can't capture that. So, the psychology of lists is a double-edged sword. They feel great in theory, but in practice, they expose our blind spots: planning without progress, decision fatigue, perfectionism, and emotional resistance. But here's the good news. In part 3, we'll explore what actually works. The upgrades, shifts, and systems that turn a flat to-do list into a true productivity engine. So if traditional to-do lists fail us, what's the alternative? How do we keep the clarity of a list without falling into its traps? The first upgrade is to connect tasks to time. Don't just write "finish report." Block 90 minutes on your calendar and schedule it. This transforms a vague intention into a real commitment. Remember, tasks expand to fill the space you give them. If you assign the space up front, you control the expansion. Second, prioritize ruthlessly. Not all tasks are equal. Circle or highlight the 1 to 3 items that actually matter today. These are your must-wins. Everything else. Bonus. By narrowing your focus, you trade overwhelm for progress. Third, build a system, not just a list. Instead of starting each day with a blank page, create routines. Maybe mornings are for deep work, afternoons for meetings, evenings for planning. When your time has structure, your brain doesn't waste energy deciding what comes next. Fourth, address the emotional layer. Notice when you're procrastinating not because of the task itself, but because of how you feel. In those moments, shrink the task. Tell yourself, I'll just work on this for 5 minutes. Often, starting is all it takes to break the resistance. Finally, Shift your identity. Stop seeing yourself as someone who struggles with unfinished lists. Start telling yourself, I'm someone who finishes what matters. When identity shifts, behavior follows. The more you act like a finisher, the more natural it becomes to complete tasks early, not late. So here's the truth. To-do lists don't fail because they're bad tools. They fail because they're incomplete. But when you pair them with time blocking, ruthless prioritization, supportive systems, emotional awareness, and a finisher's mindset, they stop being a trap and start being a map. And that's how you finally take control, not just of your list, but of your life.